is 21 past the hour. Live look at Capitol Hill on this Monday morning, a sleepy Monday morning.
I think it's going to be warm today.
It's going to be warm. I'm going to believe it when I see it. And we're headed to Washington. Joining us now from Capitol Hill.
Oh, that means Mike's going to Central Park with his reflective shades. Stop it.
Weird.
Women of New York City, beware. Stay out of Central Park.
I'm sorry,
unless
Kelly.
Accompanied by
I'm going
an
to take
armed
over here
officer.
and just move on and ignore. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins us now. And Kelly,
morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah.
Instead of who won and who lost, and let's move forward. What sort of, in terms of the dynamic moving forward for the next battle, what is the dynamic for the next round? What have we learned in terms of this latest compromise?
Well, what I keep hearing from actually members in both parties, maybe a little more loudly from Republicans, but Democrats say it too, is a real concern about, does the public, everyone from voters to office holders, really get the seriousness of the country's economic crisis when it comes to debt? And so things like we saw at the tail end of last week and the arguments going forward, there are members in both parties who say the kind of urgency that has been created by the threat of a shutdown or the driving things to the 11th hour deadline may help to get people to really pay attention to this. And so one of the things we'll be watching for this week is there's a group of 6 senators from each party, 3 and 3, who have been working on ideas that kind of pick up from the president's bipartisan debt commission, kind of look at what the Ryan plan on the House side has done and some other ideas. And they're coming up with their own set of cuts and suggestions. So that's something to look forward to this week. So I think there's a theme about a seriousness about just what this could mean and the kind of crisis that the country could face if they don't take action.
Well, so everyone agrees that the president obviously on Wednesday is going to be addressing some of these issues and is taking the time to do so. Where are the deepest divisions in terms of where to cut? I mean, are they agreeing that perhaps the Pentagon is a great place to go in terms of making some serious cuts? I would think also taxes.
Those are 2 absolutely hot-button issues. You get Republicans who will say they're open to some cuts in defense, which would be kind of counter to their usual stand, in part because of what the president had already laid out in his 2012 budget. So they're looking for some areas there. They've had some help from Robert Gates because of his background and his view of things, offering some suggestions. But taxes, absolutely. That will be another big fight. There are certainly Republicans who believe, because of the deal at the end of last year where the president and Boehner and the vice president got together, and McConnell, of course, and got that tax cut extension, that sort of set the groundwork. Certainly the White House thinks that there has to be an increase in revenue going forward, so we'll hear more about that from the president. And as you know, Republicans say that if you increase taxes, you hurt the economic recovery. So these are really deeply divided issues, lots for people to chew on and talk about. And certainly the president waited for Paul Ryan to show his cards, waited to get through this crisis of last Friday. And this is a good time midweek for him to kind of show us what's on his plate. And there will be tons to debate. Remember, they didn't actually pass the 6-month extension. That happens on Thursday. They just got us through the weekend. So there'll be lots of talking here about the sense of the deal and a lot of the details that are still coming out.
Hey, Kelly, it's Willie. We're all glad that they averted a shutdown, but as Jeb Henserling said over the weekend, that total of $38 billion amounts to a rounding error. And now time to tackle the bigger problem. Knowing the players the way you do, covering Capitol Hill and Washington as you do, I won't ask for your opinion, but do you sense that there's a culture there that will allow for the men who serve, men and women in the Capitol and at the White House, to come to a deal on these larger questions? Because watching this fight over a 6-month budget, it was depressing to a lot of Americans who don't believe that people in Washington are serious or capable of now tackling these monstrous deficits that we face.
Well, I would say there's another way to look at it. I certainly understand the public's frustration with the fact that it took an 11th hour battle and a lot of finger pointing and so forth. But I think it shows you the intensity of the feeling on both sides about different ways to look at the same problem and how big the stakes are. few weeks back, it seemed impossible that you'd get $38 billion in cuts, or you'd get cuts in certain programs. And now they've amped it up so much that there's a lot at stake. So they will fight loudly and they'll fight to the end, but they may be able to finally extract a better deal that both sides can agree on.
Kelly O'Donnell, thanks again.
Good to see you.
Standing by in the green room, former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown. He'll be on set in just a few minutes, along with Mad Money's Jim Cramer. Keep it right here on Morning Joe.